It's been a tough stretch for the Rams. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Jack Powell Ford Mineral Wells Football Show right here on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media. As a 3-game losing streak, but 2 of them being really tough competitive losses, has the Rams 0-1 in district, 3-4 overall. But a lot of great signs. That Gatesville game and that Wichita Falls game, the Wichita Falls game, it's 41-26, but that game was basically 31-26. And as Coach will explain, Wichita Falls was kicking a field goal with 1 second left because of tiebreaker procedures in case teams are tied for seeding or to make the playoffs. You want to get as many points as you can. And so for fans that might have been confused, that they weren't trying to run up the score or anything like that, that's just basically what they had to do. But still, for Mineral Wells, a lot of positives, but it's going to be tough the next couple weeks. Let's be honest. All right, this season for Mineral Wells comes down to, you want to beat Springtown. You want to beat Decatur, but you have to beat Burke-Burnett. Now, if you beat Springtown or Decatur, okay, that's awesome, and it helps solidify your playoff spot. But at the end of the day, you got to beat Burke-Burnett, and you make the playoffs. And for year one, that's what you're looking for. You're looking to get into the playoffs. That's how you start building a foundation, and that's what Coach Cody Worrell wants to do, is build that foundation, and you do that by getting into the playoffs, understanding that process, experiencing just a week or two of just what it's like to be in playoff football and the extra practices. I don't think people understand how valuable that is. That's how great teams continue to be great. It's not just talent. It's you're getting your sophomores and your juniors and even your freshmen extra snaps, even if it's just for a week, even if it's just 4 practices more. That's still 4 more practices that they have going into the next year. And so that's the goals for the Rams, and they're all still there. As always, we'll be talking to Coach Worrell about the games, the last 2. Apologize for last week. We had some issues with our it's just weird. So earlier in the week, we were doing a project. Normally, I like to record Coach Worrell on Wednesdays, but it's been pushed back the last couple weeks. And last week, Wednesday night, had a storm blow through, and the studio was without power almost all of Thursday. And even today, last night, about 3 p.m., the internet just suddenly went out. And so I didn't even know. And that's how I do all my calls, because that's how it works through the board, the production board I have to record the shows into the computer. I use a Google phone number to call all the coaches so I can record everything on the laptop or on the desktop. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to do that. But luckily, the internet came back on like literally 15 minutes before my first interview this morning. So sorry about last week, but we'll be here through the rest of the week. We do want to thank our sponsor, Jack Powell Ford. They're located at 1418 Southeast 1st Street right there in Mineral Wells. But the great thing is you can go online, jackpowellford.com. You can get pre-qualified. You don't even have to use your Social Security number. You can then shop online, and you can pick your car up, and then you can say, that's the one I want. And you can even start the process of financing it online, all at jackpowellford.com. But if you do need to call the sales office, 940-468-8502, parts 940-468-3111. You can also find them on Facebook. Just type in Jack Powell Ford. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's the head coach of the Rams, Coach Cody Worrell, right here on the Jack Powell Ford Mineral Wells Cody Worrell Football Show. Is your demanding work lifestyle in need of fire-resistant clothing that can keep up? Well, L4FR clothing should be your go-to for quality, affordability, safety, and style. L4FR was founded by a third-generation oil field worker who is also a veteran. Thus, this company has a deep appreciation for reliability and longevity, all while we provide first-rate customer service. Our durable apparel will serve you well for many years to come, whether you're working on a pipeline, a lineman climbing utility poles, or in any other environment requiring fire-resistant apparel. L4FR has you covered. Our apparel is tough enough to resist hazardous conditions while still providing high comfort and style. L4FR provides clothing options to ensure your safety and comfort, whether you're on the job or not. To view our complete inventory of flame-resistant garments, please visit our online store at l4frclothing.com or give us a call at 817-757-4935. Si habla español. Terry Bennett back here on the Powell Ford Mineral Wells Football Show, now joined by the head coach of the Rams, Coach Cody Worrell. And Coach, First game of district, a tough loss against Wichita Falls, 41-26. What were your thoughts on the game?
No, we had some opportunities in the first half off their turnovers to go in and punch it in and get up on those guys before half. And we missed out on some opportunities. And, there was a certain situation where, we don't get it on 4th and 1 or 3rd and short, and we had to settle for field goals and missed a field goal. And, one of the scenarios was, we came out of a timeout, coach called for a sub, and we subbed him in, but didn't sub the other guy out, and had broken that huddle with 12, and we're about to go for it right there on 4th, and to settle for a field goal that way. It was just a execution in the first half that kind of I felt cost us. But our kids came out and battled their tails off in the second half. We were down 31-26 with right at 5 minutes to go in the game. Got a stop. We felt like it was a stop. We got an interception, and they called us for defensive pass interference, and sometimes that happens. But I told our kids after the game. That we don't. We've got to be able to overcome questionable calls. We shouldn't let a officiating crew decide that, and we should have taken advantage of stuff in the first half, and we felt like we shot ourselves in the foot, and but I was really proud of our kids. They scored to make it 21-6 right at the start of the second half, and our kids got it within 4-point game 2 different times in the second half, and so I was really proud of the way our kids fought. And Wichita Falls is good. Went to the regional finals last year, and man, Coach Freeman and his staff did a phenomenal job. And they kicked a field goal on a lot of people don't realize this. They kicked a field goal with 1 second left to get 3 points, and some people think that they were running it up on us, but I know Coach Freeman real well, and it was just he was taking care of his program because for tiebreaker sakes on a tiebreaker for playoff implications. He was trying to get the max point, so I didn't. A lot of people were probably questioning why he did that. But I think both Wichita Falls and Mineral Wells people will question that. But Coach Freeman's got to take care of his team. So they kicked the field goal with 1 second left to get those max points, and I didn't think anything of it.
Well, I mean, and you bring up a good point, because with Wichita Falls, with Burke Burnett, and with y'all, there's a good chance that y'all all three might be trying to fight for two of the last playoff spot or last 2 playoff spots, and it will come down to, if 3 teams all beat each other, it comes down to things like scoring and hitting that cap on your scoring opportunities.
No doubt, and Coach Freeman, the first thing he says, Cody, I know you're going to be mad. And I was like, I told our kids, they're going to try to score. We're going to try to keep them out of the end zone there when they had a 2-possession lead right at the end of the game. And I get it. I mean, if I was in a situation, I'd do the same thing. It looks bad, but you got to do what's best for your team. And you got to look out for Wichita Falls, before what the looks like. And the same thing over here. If I was in a situation, I'd probably be doing the same thing. So.
I know it's frustrating. You've lost 3 in a row. You're 0-1 in district, but especially the last 2 games, you can see the process starting to work for your team. You can see that y'all, as you say, you're literally 1 or 2 plays away from changing an outcome of a game.
No, and I tell our kids all the time, that's kind of been the past 3 weeks. The message has been you got to play every play like it's the most important play of the game. As coaches, we can't tell them what the most important play, the game-changing play of that game's going to be. If we could, we'd all be a lot better coaches. We probably wouldn't be, but you can't tell, what play is going to be the deciding play of the game. So you got to play every play like it's the most important play of the game. And our kids do a good job. I mean, our kids are battling. They really, really are. And I'm super proud of them for that. We've came up short the past 2 weeks. In games that we felt like we could have won if we execute and give credit to the other teams. They've executed too as well down the stretch. But like I said, we just got to keep fighting and keep our energy up. And our kids are still working hard. They're showing up to practice, and they're working hard, and we're banged up right now. The bye week can't get here fast enough. We got to get some kids healthy and keep battling.
Before the bye week, you've got Springtown. This is a Porcupine team that you and I talk a lot about off the air. You know, last year they were 3-8 after having multiple 10-win seasons. But, man, they returned the house. They started slow this year, but the Porcupines have heated up, and, man, they look really good.
Man, I'm telling you, it's Coach Hewlett and, you know, Ty Adams, those guys over there, that's a good staff. They do a really good job, and their kids are always going to play hard. They're really, really good up front. And, man, the losses that they've had this year are kind of misleading. You know, first loss of the year, you know, they very well could have beat Alvarado. And Alvarado's dang good. I've watched them a couple times on film just on common opponents. And they're the real deal. And you know, they go into the Graham game, and you look at that score, and you're like, man, Graham kind of blew them out. But they had 7 turnovers, you know, including 2 snaps over the punter's head deep in their own territory where Graham got a short field. And yeah, to say that they're heating up, they're heating up. I mean, they're good. Their offensive and defensive line are very, very good. That's probably the strength of their team. And they just do a good job on defense of getting to the football. They're going to line up in a bunch of different. They're going to give you different fronts and mix it up. And then offensively, they run a bunch of formations. Coach Hewlett does a really good job with their offensive side of the ball. You know, getting these kids the ball in space and being very creative. He's always got a new little wrinkle each and every week. And so he's going to show us something this week that we haven't seen yet, you know, and that they haven't showed yet on film. And they just do a really good job, and they're heating up at the right time.
You know, we always talk about, like, you know, how the players are reacting to losses and stuff, but how are you as a head coach? You're a guy that in your playing career and your coaching career, you haven't lost a ton. How are you handling it?
It's been difficult. It's been difficult, but, you know, I knew that when I took the job, that, you know, it was going to be really hard to go 10-0, you know, the first year, you know, and this is a rebuild program. You know, we're building a program up, and you know, that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a season. You know, you don't establish your culture right, you know, in 5 months. It's just impossible to do. And you know, it has been difficult, but, you know, I see so much progression from even the start of the year when we're winning those games. You know, from the Graham game, you know, taking that butt kicking, and then the next 2 weeks just battling. And I've just seen, like I said, I'm just super proud of our kids and the way that they've been improving every week and fighting. And I keep telling them, like, good things are going to happen. You just keep battling, going to, you know, strap on the pads and do exactly what we tell you to do and execute. And we're going to be fine.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. As always, we thank Coach Worrell for joining us here. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments for him, you can email them to me, Terry at S2SSport.com. Again, I have a couple questions that are for later in the year that I will read. So if you want to add to that, Terry at S2SSport.com. And as we talked about before the interview, and even Coach talked about, you're just trying to survive the next couple weeks. Get to that Burke-Burnett game healthy. And if you beat Springtown, if you beat Decatur, hey, that's great. I'm not saying you're not trying. But I think you have to be pragmatic when you're looking at your district schedule and where you want to lay your eggs. And Burke-Burnett's you beat them, you're in the playoffs. And that, again, is all that matters in year one. All right. We'll talk about that Springtown game and that Decatur matchup next week right here on the Jack Powell Ford Mineral Wells Football Show on S2S Sports, part of L4 Media.